QSFP28 is the most commonly used form factor for 100 gig. However, that doesn't mean to say that you can use every QSFP transceiver in every port. If you want to find out why, stick around and we'll check it out. When higher data rates are required, this often coincides also with a new type of transceiver. 1G, for example, we have the SFP, 10G we have the SFP+, and 100G we have the QSFP28 and so on. Now, to be able to ensure an interoperability of these same types of transceivers from different manufacturers, we have the so-called multi-source agreement, or short MSA. Now, what the MSA does is the MSA specifies all aspects of a transceiver type to ensure an interoperability. Now, over the course of time, of course, we have different revisions of these MSAs because the technology evolves and it continues and so on and so forth. And I want to talk about one specific MSA, and that is the MSA of the QSFP28. And there are many parts of it, and one part in particular, the hardware and electrical interface specification. And out of that, I want to actually talk about the so-called power classes. Let me explain. In the original versions of the MSA specifications for the QSFP28 transceivers, we had 7 of the so-called power classes. Now, as you can see here, the power classes actually are only a specification of the maximum power that a transceiver, so electrical power that a transceiver actually can consume. Now, the point is that the majority of the 100 gig equipment out there for QSFP28 transceivers actually only natively supports up to power class number 4, so 3.5 watts per port. Now, the point is that for quite some time actually we have transceivers that exceed these power classes, and not just only those 4, but the power class number 7, so in other words they need more than 5 watts. And namely, that is the ZR4 transceiver that has a reach of up to 80 kilometers, or we also have DWDM transceivers, and soon we will also have the coherent ZR transceiver in the QSFP28 form factor. Now, in order to cover that, we then ended up having the revision 1.8 of the QSFP MSA. And as you can see here, this then also expanded the power classes with an additional power class, but that is then up to 10 watts. So how can you use these power class 8 transceivers? Because if we've got a lot of equipment out there that actually doesn't support this high power class, and namely only up to 3.5 watts, what can we do? Well, there is certain equipment out there where it is possible to actually deactivate an adjacent QSFP28 port to provide enough power for the other transceiver port. Also, the newer equipment a lot of times support at least the bottom end of the power class number 8. Another possibility to overcome this situation, and also to make those high power class transceivers available even for the equipment that doesn't natively support that high power class, is the so-called QUBOmini. Now, what the QUBOmini basically is it's a 100 gig transponder. But the big difference is that both these QSFP28 transceiver ports actually support up to 10 watts, meaning you can use it as a power class converter. In the client side, you actually plug in the low power class transceiver that you connect to your equipment, and on the line side, you can then plug in the high power class. I hope you learned something today and that you enjoyed this video. If so, please leave a comment and speak to you soon.